over the past year, it's very much that I've started not to think as an employee. I know Brad teaches this very well. But yeah, it's very much that I've been able to just have like quite a core team where we basically just reach out to e-commerce businesses now. And yeah, it's just going really well. I apply the techniques that Brad teach me in the first place. But yeah, it's going brilliant. We've been around for about a year. And as Brad said, we're pushing nearly 6 figures a month now.
Awesome. Well, 6 figures a year in monthly run rate, right?
Yeah, yes, absolutely.
Hey, how's it going? Brad Riley here and welcome to this video. Today I have a student interview with one of my students, Will. Now Will, over the last 12 months, has turned from being an employee of a marketing agency to actually using those skills, setting up his own agency and scaling up towards that 6 figure per year mark. Now, if you are interested in learning the exact same things that I taught to Will to help him on his journey, I'd like to invite you to check out my Entrepreneur Accelerator Mastermind. The link is in the description. It's super low cost, super high value, no long-term contracts or anything like that. You get me as your mentor, you get weekly live calls. We have monthly meetups at the minute. So obviously it's virtual meetups where we do giveaways and all stuff like that. We also have training area with hundreds of hours worth of content and PDFs and printouts and everything that you need to start a successful business. And it's not like $1,000. It's super low cost. It's only $29 per month. So if you're interested, check the link out in the description. I'd love to see you in there. But without further ado, let's get into the video.
Hey guys, how's it going? Brad Riley here and welcome to another video. In this one today, I have an interview with one of my students, Will. Thank you so much for jumping on the channel, bro.
Hello. Thank you very much for having me, for sure.
Awesome. So yeah, me and Will have known each other for a while now. It's been about, we were just speaking before we started filming here. It's been about 12 months now since me and Will first met and he became initially a consultation student of mine. But over the last 12 months, you've been able to achieve some crazy stuff amidst the pandemic and all, and all that going on as well. He's pretty much at a position now where you're pretty much at 6 figures. The next client is going to comfortably get you over that run rate to be at 6 figures per year, which is amazing. And when I first met Will, he actually worked at an agency working for somebody else. And obviously now he's about to be running a 6 figure per year agency. And he's built that over the last 12 months, even during the pandemic, which is crazy. So if you can, I know people are going to get a bunch of value from this interview, but if you just want to start with really your story, you know, what's happened over the last 12 months, and we can kind of go from there.
Yeah, absolutely. So it was very much that I reached out to you, Brad, around about 12 months ago. It was very much that I was thinking about just starting my own agency for around like the last 6 months of working in like a digital marketing agency.
Sure.
So I think it was like an Instagram DM where I was like, right, Brad, I actually got given marketing equity from my old company. And I was like, right, Brad, what do I do? Do I either stay with this agency and actually get a bit of the share of their business, or do I do it myself? And I got a pretty positive message back, like pretty much to get me out of my comfort zone. He was like, right, well, do you want to work for yourself 40 hours a week, or do you want to have this percentage equity in this other agency? And I was thinking, right, if I actually apply myself for my own agency, I thought I'm going to get a lot more return. So it was something that it was quite uncomfortable for me to actually hear at the time. Yeah. But it actually really did give me a bit of motivation to do it myself. And then, yeah, it was very much that I went through Brad's course. Obviously, I was like a media buyer prior to this. So I had really good hands-on experience with the Facebook side, more about the analytical nature. But it was very much that I kind of had no expertise about running a business. I was kind of just like an employee to begin with.
Sure, yeah.
It was very much that I was doing the fulfillment, which was great. Again, hands-on experience is so important to begin with. But over time, we had, I think it was weekly calls, wasn't it? Where we had like an hour of just basically just going over like the fundamentals. It was more about mindset. And yeah, just over the past few months, over the past year, it's very much that I've started not to think as an employee. I know Brad teaches this very well. But yeah, it's very much that I've been able to just have like quite a core team where we basically just reach out to e-commerce businesses now. And yeah, it's just going really well. I apply the techniques that Brad teach me in the first place. But yeah, it's going brilliant. We've been around for about a year. And as Brad said, we're pushing nearly 6 figures a month now.
Awesome. Well, 6 figures a year in monthly run rate, right?
Yeah, yes. Absolutely. Sorry.
Yeah, but no, that's all good, man. But yeah, but honestly though, bro, it's been so crazy to see that the progress over the last year. And I just wanted to ask you, I mean, you do have definitely that advantage of being having the experience as a media buyer, right? You have that experience of understanding how to run the Facebook ads, which was definitely a benefit you brought to the table. But I do remember when you first came to me, and it was, you know, especially when you're given a percentage of a company to stay, it's a very critical decision. Looking back 12 months now, I'm assuming you're glad you made the decision you made.
Yeah, absolutely. Just like the new norm now, like just striving for something yourself. Like I'm sure everyone who's listening to this has that same like fire in them that they want to just basically build something. I know it's very, very important for myself, not even just like a monetary term, just have like your own like destiny. I know a lot of the times I was bogged down with a lot of stress in like an agency format. And I was thinking like, why don't I apply this stress to my own like reward? Yeah. A lot of the time it was just like, I was feeling stressed, but the reward wasn't there. So yeah, it's very much that I've came through it, and it's a very much a case now where we can build something, and you just have a lot more financial freedom, freedom to do anything really. And it obviously we're both quite like we want to learn every day, and it's very much that you can actually strive. You can part out your day, whatever you want to do. That you delegate 10 hours to learning. That's something that you're doing for yourself. Sure.
Of course. Yeah. And, you know, like you said, if the difference is now as well, if you wake up and there's a fire to put out from a client stress, at least you're the one that's getting paid the full retainer from that client to deal with the stress, right? Rather than you're on a base salary. And okay, you were offered a small percentage of the company and the shares and stuff like that, which is interesting, but it's still nowhere near enough to be the same amount of income that you're making now from your agency, which is awesome. But what I wanted to talk about, which is, a few things that I know the people watching this can take away. There's a couple of good things that you do in your agency, which is very different, which, I've done a bunch of interviews on the channel. So I recommend people watch this because there's 2 or 3 things that you do very different to anybody I've interviewed here before. And it's even different to a lot of the stuff that I do myself in my agency, but it's reaped many rewards for you in your business. And the first thing with that I want to speak about is when you price a lot in terms of percentage of profits, right? So you don't just charge a flat retainer, you will often charge a retainer plus a percentage of profits, or even sometimes just a flat profit share. Can you speak a little bit about that, how that's structured and kind of and why you do that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we actually had a conversation, one of our mentorship calls, where at the start, it's very, very, you get very intimidated talking about price with some of your clients. And you just basically said, right, it is just a number, it is just a price. So I think time will tell, learning about like pricing your retainers. It's very much to do with how you actually perceive your value. So if you're actually getting your first client and you're a bit scared of saying, oh, this is £1,000 a month, over time, you're more like you back your own value. And yeah, we were discussing before, it's very much that when we kind of like work on like a minimum retainer. So for example, if we were having like an e-commerce client where it's like 1,500 per month, we also do like around about 9% revenue percentage. So that's how we model our pricing. So when we're at scale, the model turns over to the percentage of the rev share. But this is really interesting because a lot of my clients, when I'm in prospecting calls, are like, they get a bit worried that like a media buyer or a freelancer or whatever loses interest once they have the retainer. Cool. So when you're actually on the percentage of revenue model, you kind of grow with them. This is what I like to do in my sales call. I'm like, I basically end the pitch saying like, your success is ours. And it just makes sure like you're getting paid for your own optimization. Say for example, you're making like 100K in revenue per month. You don't, the actual company doesn't want someone to just be on a base retainer. They want to kind of feel like whatever they're putting in the day is actually helping them. So it sounds like you're asking a lot from the brand you're working with, but a lot of the time they're like, right, we actually want to be on a performance model because it means that you're totally aligned. And it kind of just gets you on the same page for sure.
For sure. I mean, it's a mixed bag, isn't it? Because it's like, often, I mean, if it's obviously a startup business, right, you're probably not optimal offering a performance-based fee, right? But if it's a bigger business, it's your ideal client, like with you, I know you like to work with larger e-commerce businesses, and you look at an ad account, you're like, look, we can definitely help you guys, right? 10%, 9%, whatever it is, 15%, 5%, whatever it is you charge in terms of your performance base. Often, let's say it's 10% to keep numbers easy. If you're making them 100K, you're taking 10% a month of that. You're making 10K a month. Or if you're making a business 50K a month, 30K a month, you're taking 10%. That's 3 to 5K a month. That's often more than a lot of people will charge in their base retainer. So people in their retainer might charge $1,000, right? Or $2,000.
Sure.
And the companies know this, but even though they know they may be paying more, often they're happy to do it because there's no risk involved. It's like they're only getting paid if they do a good job. And if they do a fantastic job, I'm happy to pay the percentage because they actually deserve it. So it's like this win-win relationship. And even though you're often will make more, the clients are happy to make more because it's, like you said, in alignment with their company. I'm also curious to know, do you do normally retainer plus a percentage, or do you, like you said, you transition it? Do you start with a retainer, then move into percentage? Like how do you structure that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we kind of work on like a minimum retainer fee just to protect our margins. So
Sure.
It's very much that obviously we work in a realm of working a lot in like subcontracting. So it's very much that we have like a minimum base retainer.
Sure.
It could be, it's normally based on how much they're spending already.
Sure.
So if you have like a guideline, say for example, they want to spend around 10,000 a month, we have to factor that into the minimum retainer. But yeah,
Sure.
it's very much just say month one, a month two, we're setting foundations. It's just so we're very sure like we're not going to be spending a month or two actually working on the accounts and maybe the success isn't there. We need
Sure.
to protect our margins. And then obviously the percentage works a little bit further down the line when we're at scale.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, just to align our goals, I think that's the perfect way. So yeah, I'd really recommend having a minimum retainer. Sometimes you could be working and for a million different reasons why it's not working straight away.
Yeah.
You just want to protect yourself and basically just get you paid for what the work you're doing, for sure.
Of course, because often results don't happen overnight, so that's definitely true. And I know a lot of people do this where they structure, they get people on a 30, 60, 90-day contract and then renegotiate after. So, you could do that, right? You could get people on a £1,500 a month retainer for 60 days. And
Sure.
after the 60 days, once the results are there, you can then realign after the 90 days, realign with the new retainer, which could then be performance based. But there's nothing stopping you, setting those expectations prior to that first call anyway, which is
absolutely.
Anybody watching this can take a lot away. We recently structured something similar with one of our clients, and the 10% that we take on profit from the ads is now worth substantial amount more than the base retainer that we charge. And that was a $3,000 per month retainer. So just to put that into context, you can make a lot more from these performance-based percentages. So anybody watching, if you're looking at price, especially if it's a bigger business, get experimental and price in that percentage of profit. Another thing you do, really, really interesting, is when you have a prospect, I speak a lot about sending looms, standing out, doing things different, over delivering, especially to the warmer clients, to help you stand out. Now, you do something slightly different. You actually send SWOT analysis to prospects. What is that? What does it entail, and what are the results you've achieved from doing so?
Yeah, so it's kind of like it's very similar to what the methodology is very similar to the Loom videos. I know you go a lot about the USPs, and it's basically just a bit of an analysis about the website, the socials. So yeah, at scale, this sounds like it's not very efficient. However, I've kind of got to a point where my document's quite padded out and it's quite generalized for all my e-commerce clients. And then what I'll do is I'll pick so basically a SWOT analysis, just to dissect, is like strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats.
Okay.
So yeah, what I do, I'll basically go over the website. So yeah, I focus a lot on e-commerce clients. So it's very much if I see something that isn't going to be compelling for like a user, maybe the funnel to the purchase is too long. Maybe the layout is not compelling enough. Maybe the text that they're actually using, like the copywriting is just phrases, is cookie cutter. I'll basically just go over a few points what that they can maybe like implement straight away.
Yeah.
So what I'll do on the call, I'll be like, we'll try and agree a price to begin with. And then I'll say, just a bit of takeaway value. After this call, I'll send over a document. And if we weren't working together, at least you've got a bit of analysis. So yeah, it's just like, obviously we're in a world where it's very competitive.
Sure.
Especially on Upwork, you've got to kind of just like, basically just position yourself as a little bit more conscientious, basically.
Of course, yeah.
And yeah, it's just like, obviously everyone knows that you have to give a bit of free value out. It just shows that you're going a bit doing a bit extra, basically. And yeah, the conversion rate's huge. If you were to create like a document or a Loom, for example, and you're very similar in terms of experience,
yeah,
you're definitely going to win the client over with your work for sure.
Of course. I mean, literally, if everything was equal and one person, price equal, the value in the call was, the same things was said, same structure, same price, everything. One person sends that Loom, one person sends that SWOT analysis. That person's going to win it 10 times over. I've had it before as well, where I've hired people that are like way less experienced because the attitude's right. It's like, so you can train the skills, stuff like that. But if the attitude is there, that want to go the extra mile, I know for myself from when I've hired people, I will take that every day of the week over someone who's more experienced. So when you compound that on top of the fact that you are experienced, you do have a great Upwork profile, I know you do, but when you mix and match that authority with the added value, it just compounds. Like you said, you have that like wildfire approach to it. Yeah, that's amazing. So do you have, like you said, you have a base structure for it then, and you just make 1 to 2 tweaks every single time depending on the client, essentially?
Yeah, absolutely. So kind of like I try and position myself in the opportunities, in the threats. So it's actually quite good to position myself. Maybe it's just like, so I kind of go down the USP that I have a bit of a data background. So I kind of just position myself as more like conversions based.
Yeah.
So I actually disguise it a little bit as like my sales proposition. It seems like they're getting value. Well, they are getting value, but like it does actually promote my own services as well.
Of course. Yeah.
But yeah, just to reiterate what you said, it's very much just picking out a few things. It can be very time efficient. It takes around 10 minutes at a time, which is not bad. And yeah, I'll just go over a few pointers on the website. It shouldn't take too long at all once you've got your analysis out, and then you can just tweak and change from there. For
sure. I mean, 10 minutes added work to a prospect to close a deal. It's like you can go through all the hard work. You've had a 30-minute discovery call. You've done God knows how much outreach to get the response. You've responded, set up the call. So 10 minutes extra is probably like 5 to 10% of the time that you've actually put into that prospect in the first place to actually have like a 10 times higher chance of closing the deal. Like obviously it's worth it every time. So again, like I said, that was the second thing that you do slightly different. Loom still work great, right? But it's like slightly different to a Loom. It's probably a bit more, it gives you a bit more ability at scale at that point, because you can have at some point a VA come in and add in those value points for you. Whereas if you're sending a Loom, it's going to be hard to get a VA to come in and send a Loom every time. Whereas grabbing a few things from the website, copy and pasting it in, taking 10 minutes, you could even train someone up to do that. So like you said, it's a lot more scalable.
It's kind of, you kind of see, I normally do after a sales call as well. So if you actually are a good fit, it's not a case that I would do that without a prospect seeing it. It's quite nice to end the sales call after you've promoted your worth and what you're going to be basically doing. It's nice to just tell them like, oh, right, actually, I'm going to go and take a few hours of my day now just to look at your website. Yeah. This is actually good for me as well, just to find out. And yeah, what we'll do, we'll send it over out there, like the end of play, for example.
Awesome. Yeah. Really a lot of value there, man. I think everybody watching again could be something that you implement. Not even, like you said, you can do it prior to the sales call to set up a call, but even after the call to help get over the line. It's an amazing little proposition that you offer. Final thing that you do again, which is really cool. So again, I've interviewed a bunch of people on this channel who've had success with Upwork and closing clients. One thing that you do with on Upwork, which is really amazing, well, it was 2 things actually. Number 1, you actually get 4 inbound, on average, about 4 people a day who come to you in your profile and say, hey, Will, I want to work with you. So again, that's 120 warm inbound leads a month through your platform. But what's even cooler about that is you actually have a niche within your Upwork profile. So you're not just a broad Facebook advertiser. You focus specifically on your perfect client, which is large e-commerce stores. And you do that within offering Facebook ads and paid traffic services within your Upwork profile. So if you can touch a bit on that, let's just start with the niche within Upwork. How have you structured your profile in a way to get that and niche down?
Yeah, so it's more of the case that we focus on some of it, like at the time, it was very much just focusing on like what my team could leverage in terms of success. But once you get more testimonials, once you get more client success, that's very much that we just focus on the metrics that matter. So like obviously you're a business owner, you're looking at profiles, you don't have a lot of time to win over. So it's very much just performance-led statistics. So for example, if we made 100K per month for one of our clients, it's very, very easy for them to see straight away. Yeah. You actually taught me just to basically just get a testimonial before anything else. Obviously anything that you basically someone advertising you is a lot more effective than you actually spouting your own successes. So yeah, it's very much that I've kind of just focused it on e-commerce. It's very clear on my copy that we do go that way. So yeah, in terms of invitations, that they're very much e-commerce centric as well. Although there is a lot of occasions where they're not, but yeah, it's very much that we have keywords for e-commerce, paid advertising in that respect. But yeah, in terms of like the Upwork, my funnel is quite optimized. We have, obviously it's very important to use Upwork as a payment plan if you know that you're going to get a good review. So yeah, I've kind of got like a lot of reviews that are very, very much positive. I've made it very, very like conscious to really keep that maintained. So yeah, it's really quite self-fulfilling now. It's really good. If I'm away for a weekend, I actually had like 25 invites from Thursday, Friday to Monday. So it's very much going in manually just to get them through. So yeah, it's really good. And I can't advertise enough to have an optimized profile. Try and get these 5-star reviews. Maybe if you can entice them to maybe give you a review. But yeah, the main takeaway value is just kind of just work on Upwork if you know that you're going to get them a good, if you know you're going to get a good review out of it for sure.
For sure, yeah. I mean, it's one of those things that takes time as well. Like you're in a position now where you're getting 4 a day or so, right? Invites that come to you. But I know for a fact when we first started working together, that wasn't the case, right? You had nothing on your profile, no experience. You probably had you had the worst copy on your profile. Everything wasn't optimized. The thing is with your profile, it is almost like a building that you build brick by brick over time. Every dollar earned, every 5-star review, the testimonial that you can add, the service the results you can add to your portfolio that you've just got. Like again, it's this constant thing that you're constantly improving over time. So it's not one of those things that people can necessarily straight away go in and have a profile that's like yours or like mine that's been optimized over the last 12, 24 months. Saying that though, if people are just starting out on Upwork, I think that's fantastic advice, right? If you have any testimonials, whack them on there. Any portfolio, any results, put it on there. I mean, even if you don't, right, it's like, what can you add? How can you position yourself in a powerful way? So then I'm also curious to know with your Upwork profile, how much outreach are you doing a day now? So you obviously get a lot of invites yourself, but how many per day are you actually actively going out there yourself and applying to?
Yeah, good question. So it's very much, we do around 25 per day, which is quite a good baseline of what you've actually suggested from me. Yeah. But like touch up on your last point, it's very much that people that are starting out new. I wouldn't be disheartened at all. Obviously, everyone has to be at the stage, but to be honest, like if you can get someone on a call and you can offer value, it doesn't really matter. Like even when I've been hiring for my own agency, having like a 5-star reviews or basically just having like a well-optimized profile is amazing. But like I have actually been on calls with people who have had no experience and they've actually delivered real value. I think following up is like hugely important. Have like a system where you're actually going through your messages and kind of like reminding people, because I know a lot of business owners don't get back to you for the first time. So yeah, just to basically just start out, if you don't have testimonials, it's not the end of the world. It's like, it's how you offer value. It's basically, are you looking like you're going to be quite a dedicated person in their team? Like I had someone who had no experience, no amount spent, but she was really polite. She like kind of like just basically just followed up with me a lot of times. She showed she was really enthusiastic. So I actually picked her more than someone who was like, say, for example, 50,000 spent. So like, it's all about the relationship building. So like,
of course,
it seems like you're competing with a lot of different people, but if you can actually build up a bit of rapport, and you can actually build a relationship, that's extremely important. I would say more important than having a well-structured profile.
Yeah, I completely agree. You know, I remember the first client I ever closed was a guy called Dom. And again, I was in the same boat, really. It was like I had no experience. I remember when I first got on the call, like I could hear my voice like shaking when I was speaking to her. And it was like I could hear it at the back of my throat. I was so nervous. And I had really no experience at all. I had a YouTube channel at the time, but no social media management experience, not much at all, really. And I remember just having a conversation with him. I think I was on the phone to the guy for like an hour and a half, 2 hours. And we literally just built a relationship. And that guy hired me over, I think like there was 20 plus people who applied to the job. He gave it to me because we built that relationship. So again, it just is the case. It's true. You know, if you can build rapport with them, if you can stand out, and that's what, I mean, when you're first starting out as well, it's often right now you're hitting 25 a day. Now for somebody who's just starting out, it may even be better to hit 5 a day, 10 a day, but make sure every single time you're doing outreach, you're sending that video, you're being as personal as you can. If you get a response, you're following up with them, right? And trying to play off of the rapport approach rather than the quantity approach, should we say?
Yeah, absolutely. It seems like at the start, your mind's like trying to think of like different things to do. Like maybe you want to optimize your website. Yeah. Maybe you want to just build like a logo or like other things like that. But like the main importance to begin with is like getting leads and closing them. So if you even just focus all your day on following up, on building rapport, on just messaging people that have shown an interest, you're going to get way further than, say, for example, if you've got like a really professional website. So yeah, it's all about like even if you did nothing else but following up and doing sales calls and you weren't busy in the day, but like if you did this in comparison to doing everything else and feeling busy, it's a lot less effective than actually just focusing on the main wins that are basically just getting appointments and closing them, for sure. For
sure. Even if that's like, I think I said this to you, you know, when we first started the mentorship together, it was like, even if you spend 30 minutes a day, 60 minutes a day, but all you do is that stuff, right? If you don't do anything else, you play on COD for the rest of the day, I don't care, but like you actually spend 60 minutes doing your outreach and following up, like that time's going to be way better spent than, like you said, spending 18 hours a day perfecting a website that nobody's going to visit, building a logo that nobody's going to see, right? Those are all things that you can add in over time, which, I completely agree with. But bro, awesome interview. I think people would have gained a lot from it. There's definitely a lot of stuff in here that I haven't spoken to students about before, haven't even discussed myself on the channel. So I think it was super, super valuable, and it'd be awesome to get you on the channel again in a few months from now and see how you've scaled the agency up even further. A couple final things, really. You've started actually a client acquisition type offering to people. Why don't you tell people a little bit about that and where they can find out some more information? Because I think, again, it's a really great offering for anybody watching this looking to start an agency.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's very much my venture is called Client Accelerator. So it's basically what I'm trying to do is like reach out to other agencies, trying to just like, obviously at scale, it's really, really important to automate your outreach. So it's very much focused on a lot of different outreach methods, say, for example, LinkedIn, email marketing, Facebook, Instagram. So it's a mixture between hiring VAs and actually having automated sequences in. So like, for example, we use a CRM where someone goes into our offer. We actually give out like, we're going to be giving out like a free mini course where it actually gets your LinkedIn outreach, like basically just formatted for yourself.
For sure.
But yeah, it's very much the business is just trying to just help out other agency owners have like a VA team that can focus on outreach. So you can focus on, for example, Upwork, And yeah, it's just a real automated sequence. So yeah, it's very much going to be in fruition in the next few weeks. So yeah, it's Client Accelerator, and I'll be sure to if anyone has any questions, I'm very happy to answer them.
For sure. I'll put all the links to that in the description so people can find out any more info on that. But again, like, outreach is the most important part. And the thing is with outreach, it's one of those things where it's incredibly important, but it's also incredibly boring, right? Like you probably cannot have a more boring part of the business. Yeah, it's the most important. So if you can automate that, like if you're the type of person that you don't end up doing it because it's so boring, like you know you should do it, but you just can't stick to it, yet you really want to scale your business, maybe you've got a bit of money put aside. Again, having a team or hiring VAs to come in and handle that for you with a proven process. Okay, you're going to spend a bit of money, but at the end of the day, if that money you spend is going to return you $1,000, $2,000 a month client, I'll spend it every day of the week, right? So it'd be great for people to find out more information on that. Again, the links will be in the description. And then on a final note as well, obviously you're in the Entrepreneur Accelerator community, with the mentorship and all the training area and everything like that. For anybody who's on the edge, who has thought about jumping in but hasn't, what would you say to those people?
I would say 100% yes. It's something that, like, it's not just a really, really good community of people like-minded, but it's very much just getting the fundamentals, getting the right mentality. There's so much value that's been added, like, constantly. So, like, this was actually my first, like, mentorship scheme with Brad, and it actually got me to a point where I'm kind of like automating everything. But there's so many different strands to it. It's very much a community where people actually celebrate the wins. It's kind of really good for motivation. However, there's like daily value posts that are just extremely, extremely important for mindset. There's plenty of different opportunities to work with contractors on the contractor wall. But in terms of the value, it's just like, it's something that's really, really being updated. I'm in a lot of other different groups where they promise the world. But when you actually get into like a paid customer, it's like, right, there's nothing much. So yeah, in terms of value, I can't vouch for it enough.
Thank you so much, man. Yeah, I really appreciate it. And it's a more affordable option as well, because when we first met and we first doing the mentorship 12 months ago, obviously we did the personal mentorship, which I don't really offer too much of anymore. But obviously that was a lot more expensive, whereas this community is actually $29 a month. And I know it's not personal one-on-one calls, but there's still the weekly calls and all stuff like that. And, you pretty much will get the same information that, we'll learn from, 12 months ago, but there's obviously a bunch more in there. So I really appreciate that as well, man. And it's great to have you in there. And obviously for anybody who's interested in joining, all the links will be in the description and will be in there as well. So, we have a Discord area. So if anyone wants to DM or message Will on there privately, obviously they can jump in and do so. And again, I will link all the website and stuff below to your Client Accelerator. But obviously if people have questions for you and they're in the community, they can obviously DM you personally on there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Feel free.
Awesome.
I'd be very happy to. Yeah, cool.
Well, thanks so much for jumping on the channel, man. It was an awesome interview. Like I said, a lot of gain for a lot of people. I know it. Would be cool to get you on the channel again in a few months. If everybody enjoyed it, like I said, go check out all of Will's stuff. Links will be in the description. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Okay, so there we have it. I hope you found a bunch of value in this video. Again, if you are interested, all of Will's links will be down in the description below. And also the link to the Mastermind is also in the description down below. Thank you again so much for watching this video. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one.